And then we get the best 10 minutes in TNA history. The best angle in TNA history. The best segment in TNA history.
You're that excited about Puppet jerking off in a trash can?
Yes! This is just 10 minutes of sexual harassment. It goes from Puppet jerking off in a trash can, talking about wanting midget blood and sexually harassing Goldylocks, to her immediately turning around, walking down to interview the Dubs, where she is immediately sexually harassed again. How is this a thing on a show? TNA.
Listen, Liam, the company is called TNA. You gotta live up to the name. Total
non-stop assault.
To be fair to Puppet, I think he's getting off at the idea of inflicting pain on others more than Goldylocks.
No, he said explicitly to Goldylocks that he wants to show her his cobra. After talking about his 6-inch pythons or whatever.
Fair play to him.
And then stand-up is a pyromaniac now because that is the natural evolution of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And one Bodub is fondling Fluffed Up way more than stand-up is, yet again.
Yeah, but
and we get the most disgusting line in TNA history. Of course, a stand-up turns to Goldylocks while lighting his lighter and goes, "You have very pretty lips." To which she takes as a compliment and says, "Oh, thank you." And he responds, "Wasn't talking about those lips." To a monstrous reaction from the crowd.
That's the Vince Russo effect, baby. This is the first show that has Vince Russo on board as part of creative, contributing to the show. And that's what you get with Vince Russo.
I also don't appreciate this, demeaning element to the Puppet character. You know? He's just a man who wants midget eradication, okay? Their exact words. That's all he's here for, and now you're turning him into a sex pervert, and I don't appreciate that.
Listen, the problem was he was too likable, and there can be nobody who is likable on these shows.
That is fair. Except Goldie, unironically.
Goldie is the only person who's above all this shit.
Which is why she probably doesn't last very long.
Puppet and Meatball have what they bill as hardcore midget match. Those are their words, not mine.
I want to be, very clear that every time we mention midget, it's within the context of exact phrases they have said.
Yeah, they're literally quoting back their words. This is the text of the show. Get mad at the show, not us.
It's 2002, man.
Yeah, Puppet beat Meatball. They brawled all over the arena. He hit him with a watermelon. Meatball shoved a pie in his face before Puppet eventually won. It was, you know what? It was actually a fun little match.
Yeah, it was actually, it's fun, it's stupid and it's dumb, but, it's a plunder match and, Puppet is actually charismatic, so it works out. The X Division title match, I believe, was actually against Adam Jacobs and David Young at Ring of Honor's Crowning a Champion. The first defense outside of TNA.
That's a dream X Division title match right there.
David Young getting that Ring of Honor spot purely based on the X Division, I'm sure.
Listen, he had a good match with AJ, even if he did nothing to deserve it.
And PWG defenses were Daniels, to go back to before.
When would that have been, 05?
And that was 05. He defended against Alex Shelley on the first night and Chris Hero at the second night.
X Division stalwarts, both of them.
At least that's a little fun factoid, that Chris Hero did compete for the X Division title.
So they were trying to build toward a Beetlejuice versus Puppet match. Beetlejuice, famously from the Howard Stern show. They did hype
that on a previous promo from Puppet.
So he was calling people out, and they were hoping that would lead to a match. They were waiting for Howard Stern to come back because he was on reruns. But when he came back, they were just like, nah.
They probably should have done it. They probably would have done some numbers.
Apparently, they wanted first class air tickets, and they were like, "We're going to give you coach," and they were like, "No." And they also wanted TNA to buy advertising time on Stern, which TNA were also like, "No," because of course the TNA were about to move to the Asylum, move to the Nashville Fairgrounds because they went broke, so they couldn't afford these kind of things.
Personally, I think perhaps you should have cut Vince Russo's paycheck in order to fund the worldwide noteworthy Howard Stern segments. That probably would have done more value for you than having Vince Russo fuck around.
And you would have gotten the dream match of Beetlejuice against the most charismatic wrestler in the world, Puppet.
Plus you would have got, it would be the most TNA thing in history to have Howard Stern cutting promos on TNA, wouldn't it? Like, that's what you expect right there.
But it fell through, so they all move on with their
Damn,
lives.
I want to live in that reality. In that reality, TNA was the number one company in history, where they just said, fuck it, and they didn't bring in Russo, and they brought in Howard Stern instead.
Head of creative, Howard Stern running the wrestling.
I bet he legitimately would have had a lot of fun there. I'm not a big Stern guy, but I definitely could have seen Howard Stern falling in love with the TNA atmosphere.
I don't think I've deliberately listened to a single second of Howard Stern content.
I've seen very little, but I've seen enough to like get the gist. Ironically, I think the most Howard Stern I ever heard was the 9/11 instant reaction show where it happened during Howard Stern.
That must have been a grim thing to listen to.
It's an incredibly confronting but like weirdly historical event because like it happens literally during the show and the whole thing is filmed and you see everyone's instant reactions. You see the instantaneous racism from everyone involved. It's actually upload. I think it used to be on YouTube. It may have been taken down now, but it was actually up on one of those like historical moments in media YouTube channels. Like if that's something that like wouldn't trigger anyone who like is listening, if that's something that you could get through without it being too confronting for you, I do recommend it as a historical thing in media, but obviously if it's not worth seeking out if it would cause you any actual emotional distress. So